my girl FRIEREN, possibly the strongest out there. I think so. Honestly, I'd believe it. And if she told me so, I would believe it. And it seemed like after last time, she believes it too, and she's saying it. Not gonna lie, I haven't had any time to record for a while now, and I finally do after like a week, and I haven't been able to watch this, and it's kind of sad, and it's making me upset. I haven't been able to watch anything actually, so I'm trying to do everything in order, but I really want to watch this, so this is the first one I'm gonna do. So it's just what happens. But I'm very excited, and I'm finally happy to be able to get into this. Co-host started to go on their blocking spree for this, and at least for me. So likely there'll be a link in the description, and you'll be able to check that out if you still want to watch the reaction and everything after they end up blocking this at some other point. And they're doing it pretty quick. Usually I have a couple weeks to worry about it, but they're literally doing it a few days, removed. So it might be gone pretty soon, which is a bit unfortunate. But if that happens, like I said, just check the description or the comments or something. I'll have a link in there for you to continue onwards and do. Expectations, nothing really. I'm just expecting FRIEREN to kind of escape and then fuck some things up, and that's all I can really ask, and that's all I'm expecting actually and hoping for, and I'm just excited. I'm very excited. Feel like it all the like and subscribe to me and watch me. Feel free to stick around for the discussion. Leave any comments with this episode of the series. Let's get going though with episode 8. I actually have zero clue why it didn't click in my head like for a single moment when she literally brought up that she hates powerful opponents and she senses something, far in the distance, and whatever else she said, right? And that she has to get this over with quick, and she has to do this. Why it never clicked with me that that's where she was going. Like it literally didn't until we finally saw it in that moment. I don't know why, but thinking about it now, I'm pretty off for missing that. But whatever. Things happen. Anyways, another great one. We develop and move things forward while not, I guess, giving us the climax or what I really thought was going to end up occurring here, which is great because that just pushes it forward to allow us to get it more next week, and maybe at this point get an entire focus on it rather than quickly kind of go through it, and maybe we actually have like a really intense, cool battle between FRIEREN and Aura, which I think would be really cool if they kind of went along with that, and I would be kind of interested, but I'm left to believe, based on his valuation, I guess, of Fern and the magic and everything that she used at the end, that my understanding of Aura being awakened like 30 years ago or whatever now, and having the time to kind of grow stronger, possibly if she came back in the same sort of state that she was when she was previously defeated, if she was able to come back now at this point and grow stronger over all these years and dedicated more to her craft over time, right, and develop herself, which definitely could be the case. But for whatever reason, I just feel like that's not gonna matter, because of what ended up happening at the end with Fern and the magic that she was using. Now, I'm wondering if, because he specifically mentions that it was magic based on demon killing, right? Like, and she definitely had learned it from somebody similar to FRIEREN. He's kind of experienced something similar like that before. If this is the exact situation that happened before with the Zoltrak stuff and how it was just developed so much more, than he would have even actually realized or actually understood, that even somebody else in the situation, a demon in the situation, wouldn't even be able to comprehend as well how much development kind of went into stuff over time. So it's not something specifically like designed just to kill him or worked in a way that is supposed to take out demons, but it's literally just as basic of an attack as it kind of gets at this point, and he just hasn't fought in a little while and doesn't actually know that this is kind of the standard or what you're capable of. Not to say that Fern's like average at best, but I'm just saying, like, if this is like the type of thing that all mages in a way would kind of go out of their way to learn, this spell is that kind of the standard in a way now that he no longer is able to understand in the way it developed, or am I misunderstanding it? I'm not too certain. I will end up figuring out next week, I guess, if Aura is actually not as strong as I think, or if FRIEREN's just way stronger than I guess we think, which I already think that she's plenty of strong, to the point that like there was literal zero concern in my mind when she got started to get hung at the beginning and stuff. Like I did not even phase me, because I just assumed she's going to be stupid strong. The other two I do fear for. I did not expect that fight to be as easy, I guess, as it was. So I'm very similar to them in the fact that they underestimate themselves. I kind of underestimated them a little bit too, and I thought that it was going to be a bit more intense than it ended up being. So I'm a bit off there, but it's pretty cool. I don't want to say nothing like happened, because that just kind of feels like me skipping over things and doing a disservice in a way. But at the end of the day, I guess nothing happened that like we didn't already know. There was nothing like new introduced, I guess. For the most part, besides the fact that, we had our buddy had his encounter with FRIEREN before and had the recall with Fern, but like nothing developed a bit more past that, besides the idea, I guess, now that Fern and Stark are probably going to be a bit more confident in themselves after what's going down here, but that also might not be the case because we're still able to track them, and we're going to actually probably have a proper altercation with them, where everybody is going on the offensive instead of just, you know, somebody standing there and Fern, you know, getting the surprise attack and everything. So I'm assuming things might get a little bit more difficult, and maybe the confidence won't be completely there by the end of it. But if things ended where they kind of are now, I would assume they're pretty fucking confident in themselves, which is good. Once again, great with just like the non-caring emotion out of Frieren here, as she's just being completely fucking hung in this situation, which is just great. I love the like the lifting of the head and the tilts and stuff that they kind of do. I talked about this a little bit, but just I don't know what it is. It's just something about it, especially with like her eyes and the way that she speaks and the way that she just looks. Like to me, like this right here just gives like she's fucking badass in this moment, right? Which is exactly what we see. Is she is immediately like able to get on top of him and avoid anything that he's doing, and just completely just snaps him with her own hands. I don't know if she used a spell or something here to be able to do that. I'm assuming that's probably the case, unless she's just fucking strong somehow and able to do that, but ends up killing him, but he turns to ash, which I guess is just, or mana particles or whatever she said, which I guess is what happens to demons. I don't know if that happens to everybody. Also, is demons just like is a overall thing, like every kind of enemy and stuff that we're going to go against, all the bad people in this world and stuff going to be there, or are there like different classifications between like demons and monsters and then like fucking vampires and stuff, you know what I mean? Like, is there differences in all of that stuff, as we've met like phantoms and stuff before too? So are there differences in there, or could we just kind of combine them all into one and then there's subcategories within it, or like how's that situation? I don't know. I love our Stark and Fern moments. I can't get enough of them, really. I said before how I think that their relationship was going to be great, and they're definitely going to get along and be a really fun dynamic, and they absolutely are. The entirety of this episode and going on our little sneak mission to find Frieren and then go on our mission later to kind of do whatever it is that she asks of us is fantastic. I love Stark's being able to notice that he wasn't actually being looked at, and only Frieren had like the focus, and it kind of bothered him in a way. Somebody who is afraid of fighting and all of this stuff still is bothered by the idea that he is looked down upon on. An interesting thing to think about too, because it's the idea behind somebody who doesn't have confidence, I guess, in his own self and maybe his abilities and stuff, realizing that other people also don't view him as a threat or anything around it, or may not, which we end up knowing other people kind of do, but in this situation he's not the one with that kind of focus or attention on him, so it makes him a little bit more nervous thinking about this sort of enemy kind of looming around him here that maybe doesn't even view him as this threat, and he's not confident enough in his own abilities as a result, which I'm not too sure of, which causes him to shake too much and spill stuff upon himself, which I absolutely love how Fern is, you know, there to help him do whatever he needs here, but at the end of the day, please do not give that back, because we don't want that. My mans, you did a good thing, but you came in at the wrong time, and it was not a position to do. And he confronted him, which I think is great, and he goes about it the right way, and he realizes that this person would never harm a guard and understands the severity of that and would never go to those extents. So when I see that this guard is dead after that she ends up escaping, that only really means one thing to me, and maybe I should have kind of listened to her and the things that she was saying, which he ends up finding out a little bit too quick and soon, because now all your guards are fucking dead, which is kind of crazy. His blood power is really, really cool. It's not the first time that we've seen in anything really the idea of somebody using their own blood and kind of using it to manifest something in a way, and using different abilities and stuff that they're able to. But his ability of being able to kind of harden this stuff, but also be able to kind of use his blood even when it's detached from him, and not just like think of or kind of use it in a way to like sculpt a weapon or whatever the situation is, as we see later, like when he gets cut and then he's able to use the blood on that to fly it out towards somebody else, like is kind of fucking crazy of a thing to be able to do, which I absolutely love that is a possibility and an ability that he can do. Frieren sneaking away doesn't really work out, as Fern's immediately able to kind of sniff her out. I love our conversation here about how she's like, I'm out this place, I ain't doing all of this. Which is great, and then being like, what the fuck are we supposed to do? But her encouragement of being like, I think you guys can do this, and you're really not as weak as you think you are, is great. Give them a little bit more confidence, especially somebody that they definitely view themselves under and they look up to, and you know, appreciate how strong this other person probably is around them, and for everything that they've done, to be able to be acknowledged and recognized for them, and to be able to be viewed as somebody who is strong and capable of this person. You know, Stark is like, we need you to like help us, and even later on is like, please help us. but be able to see this confidence that she kind of has in you, where she's like, you don't literally need my help, you're very capable of this, which isn't the first time that we were able to see something like that. Stark with the dragon is the exact same kind of situation where he's not confident in himself, and you use a little of something, you're like, yo, just help me out, 30 seconds, and then he ends up killing it on his own. Similarly enough, but a little bit different because she doesn't actually agree to come back and help. But I love the little smirk that she has. Fern drags him away. Also, just Fern's like dominance in a way over Stark is great. I don't know, it adds to their dynamic, which I really like. This was a really fun transition of us dropping this in front of FRIEREN and then being able to kind of transition us out over here, which I really like, and then being able to see Aura for the first time here and being able to see FRIEREN get that big old grin on her face as she understands it's time to go fighting. I also love the stupid sneaking in here between them. Stark's all soaked here, but Fern literally nothing. Stark, he's offering his hand here, but she just flies over because she's like, nah, fuck that. It's great. He's just at such a disadvantage with literally everything in life, which is great. I like the backstory here, adding to what demons are and the things that they do and how they dedicate so much of their lives to a single type of magic and perfecting their own craft in a way that it makes them very, very, very strong. And then I like the contrast of us kind of bringing up FRIEREN's old master here, but also this is such a great shot of her just looking up and then we going into the sky and being able to see the beautiful lighting from it, be able to reflect in certain ways in her eyes, and instead of just keeping it still as well, they constantly shift it while it's there. But he's more so talking about the ability that her master had with the barrier and what this barrier actually is, which is, this is a cool situation, I guess, where she's able to put a barrier over a plant here, and this plant is able to survive throughout the winter in a way, because nothing can get in or out unless she probably lets it, or unless there's another spell in a way for somebody to get in and out here. So he's trying to figure out, because this town is protected and guarded by this barrier, how the hell, they were able to get in, because not anybody can just walk in, right? So he had to have known somebody, or he has to know himself how exactly he can raise and lift and let people in this situation, and that's his job here, is to figure it out. And he gives Buddy some time to figure out if he wants to go ahead and give it to us and help them out, which of course he doesn't want to. But if you're threatening to torture somebody at the end of the day instead of just taking their lives, which is what I initially thought, it's going to be kind of a hard thing to get away with, because literally nobody knows if they can deal with that pain of being tortured, and probably just want to put it to a stop at some sort of point. I love Stark coming in here and just the conversation here about him being scared and about him just kind of trying to ease our minds in a way of being like, it's all right, we're gonna get you out of here. The people of the town really care for you, or the people need you in a way if you're going to be able to evacuate and save everybody, because they're only going to believe someone like you. I do like the idea of showing this necklace in a way to the guards, just being like, because they'll understand that he passed it on in a way, which does concern me, because it's like, dude, you probably could have just stole it, and who knows if they're going to believe you, if they're going to attack the dude. Also, we've already seen so many guards die. Not saying that there's a bunch in here, but it's pretty rough. At the worst time, once again, somebody else walks in. But I guess it works out, because this is kind of part of their plan. Stark gets pissed once again that he is not being directly looked at, which makes enough sense, and then shit goes bad. This is the moment I was saying where he gets cut and then he just sends the blood flying at him instead. Like, that's fucking stupid how he's able to do that. And then he creates the tree roots, or the hand kind of coming out here and pinning him down, which is, it's so interesting just to see how he's able to kind of use this blood and the connection that he has here. At the exact moment, though, we end up seeing a wild fern show up and completely blasting us away, which is great. Straight shades of FRIEREN, as that's kind of what he remembers, seeing somebody like her up in the sky, and it's very, very reminiscent of it. This is where we have that talk I talked a little bit about earlier with the magic and the different abilities and stuff regarding that, and then he's able to protect himself here. He remembers memories of FRIEREN in the past and all this other stuff, which is great. We then go ahead and get to see her actually pulling up FRIEREN the Slayer, right? And be able to see her pull up and challenge Aura here, which is going to be a fun little thing that we're going to be able to have. Also, did none of them have heads? They all just like headless knights? What the fuck is that? Oh, that's kind of gross. I don't like that. Which leads us into kind of what comes next. I'm very excited to see. Also, Buddy can track us because his blood is on us, so I don't know if that means that he can like infuse it into us or turn it into like something while it's like at a distance away and like harm them in some sort of way, or if it's literally just used as like a tracker, because he's able to figure out exactly like where it is, and then he's able to catch up and still cause something to us. Also, we got our answer, or my answer, of do they have regenerative abilities, at least for him, probably because of his blood and what he's able to use with it. It appears he does, but it takes time and it's not like an instant thing, which is pretty good to know, unless it has to be, you have to have like certain abilities to be able to do that, but I'm not actually too certain. Really, really, really fun, and I'm excited to kind of see where we go next, where hopefully we get our grand scale battle and things to come here in the 9th episode, which will lead us into probably a new arc within the 10th, would kind of be my prediction. I'm expecting things to all go well. It's probably just going to be FRIEREN, I'll handle things no problem, or they might be a challenge, but ultimately she's going to be able to. I'd assume Fern and Stark get attacked at some point, and then we got kind of backs against the wall, but they're able to overcome it through kind of working together at some point again. And that would kind of be my guess for where the fights are going to go. But I'm just excited to see, because it's so well animated and everything, that I'm assuming we're in for a very, very pretty sight, at least, and something that's going to be enjoyable to watch there. That's going to be all from me. If you liked it, all, hit the like and subscribe to mean a lot to me. Feel free to check out the other videos in the channel. Leave in the comments of this episode of series. I'll be back for episode 9 next week. You guys have a good one. Peace.